Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. We're hoping more people, inshallah, will join us in a minute.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Now we're going, inshallah, through the rest of the slides on Aqeedah.
Inshallah. MashaAllah, they're very good. I listened to the one yesterday. May Allah reward you. You're doing a very good job.
Alhamdulillah. We have another brother, Ahmed, mashallah. Let's see if we can get a bit more. I try that the system here, I discovered Zoom does actually record. So I'm recording the session and putting it on Facebook and YouTube. So hopefully some people will be attracted to listen and to watch. It's a subject better discussed with audience interacting with the subject, better than only talk to myself, because you get people asking questions which is to clear things which was a bit ambiguous or something. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Now the question arises, does Allah exist? And those who say there is no God, they create three impossible situations. That's the universe either created from nothing, or created itself, or has existed from eternity. Now, created from nothing, the universe did not exist from eternity. Created from nothing, no brain will accept that. Nothing comes from nothing. Created itself, it's again stupidity to think I created myself, the sun created itself, and the matter created itself. And those who, there's a short video about atheism, and when they asked Richard Dawkins, he tried to define nothing. So the whole audience, they laughed, and he was a bit puzzled. Why are you laughing? And then the priest who was sitting there, he said, because you're trying to define nothing, which was a bit idiocy, obviously, to define nothing. How would you define nothing? So has existed from eternity. The answer to that comes from science itself. The heat theory tells that all suns lose heat. So if that is the case, all the stars should be dead by now, if it existed from eternity. Because every second, our sun loses billions and billions of matter, hydrogen converted to helium, and helium, the energy squeeze the helium to make more heavy material, and then with the time run out of hydrogen and will either explode or cool down or collapses within itself. The inflation theory, this is another thing which proven by Hubble, that the universe expanding. So the universe was one piece. This is why they created they came with the Big Bang theory. But the whole universe was one piece and exploded. Because you reverse expansion. So one day, we're closer to each other, and then it was one piece, exploded. Because they said exploded because it's moving fast away from each other. So it was one piece and then exploded. Now, the other thing, which is science uses we use the brain and the science to prove that the universe was created one day. Do you want to ask a question about what I've said already?
No, not yet.
No.
Yeah, not yet. But I did have a question, but you've started now. I didn't want to interrupt your flow.
That's right. I can answer. I got a different concept now.
Sorry?
I can answer your question before I move on.
Yes. Well, I was going to say, on yesterday's session,
Yeah.
you said that the future can be changed or altered by using Allah's laws.
The future can be changed by using Allah's law.
Yeah.
The qadar, which we have it in the Quran, and we have it as the 6 pillars of Iman. Al-qadar in the Quran have 3 meanings. When Allah talks about qadar in the Quran, He means 3 things. Either the law of Allah. Allah created water to evaporate 100 degrees. You can stop that by using another law of Allah, using pressure. So the water will be boiling, the temperature will go up and will not evaporate because the water under pressure. Or the water freeze at 0 degree, and you can put antifreeze to stop the water freezing. So you're using another law of Allah by adding a salt or whatever. By adding certain salts, the water will not freeze. So it's the qadar as a law, you can oppose it by another law. The qadar of illness, oppose it by a qadar of treatment. You get the medicine, you get better. The second meaning of qadar is the measure. So Allah Azza wa Jal created everything with a precise amount, and He sent precise amount of water, and He gave precise amount of fruit, crops. The first qadar, you can oppose it with another qadar. The second qadar, the amount, you can ask Allah Azza wa Jal for more. You can ask Allah Azza wa Jal for more money, for more crops, for more food, for more rain, and Allah Azza wa Jal will or will not send. And you could ask Allah Azza wa Jal for more years to live longer, and Allah might or might not agree. If you put certain, if you fulfill certain conditions, Allah Azza wa Jal might increase your lifespan. Like our Prophet ﷺ said, if you do 2 things, Allah will increase your wealth and your lifespan. And the hadith, من أراد أن ينسى له في رزقه ويزاد له في عمره فليصل رحمه. So if you want Allah Azza wa Jal to make you live longer and have more wealth, keep contact with your family. So it's known. And also charity is known also to increase the result. And there's many things you can do. Allah Azza wa Jal will reward you by making you live longer. If you take the right medicine, if you take the right food, the right diet and things, Allah will reward you by increasing your lifespan. The ajal can be increased and decreased, the ajal. The ajal musamma is your date of birth, which is known to Allah Azza wa Jal being already in the future. And He knew, because He's in the future, the ulama, they call it ilm al-azali, the eternal knowledge. So the ilm al-azali, that you will, Allah knows when you died, because for Him your death is past already, being in the future. This concept is very difficult for us to understand being on planet Earth. And when Einstein spoke about the relativity theory, that time slows down with the speed, that the faster you are, the shorter your time, made the astrophysicists and physicists come with the idea that the past, the present, and the future exist at the same time, depends on your speed. So if the current speed, your speed as a human, you are living in the present. If you travel by the speed of light, you go to the future. If you travel by a speed higher than the speed of light, you go to the past. So the possibility is there. Applying the possibility is something different. So when the scientists thought about it, they came to the conclusion that probably the past, the present, and the future exist at the same time. And Allah Azza wa Jal is obviously the creator of all these. And He is already in the future, and He sent messengers to tell us what's going to happen in the future. So Allah Azza wa Jal, you cannot change the plan of Allah. The third meaning of qadar is the plan of Allah, which you cannot change, and you don't know. You can ask Allah Azza wa Jal to change the amount, and you can challenge a law of Allah by another law of Allah. So when the Sahaba were coming to a city where there were a plague in it, and they were told that why are we afraid of the qadar of Allah? We should enter the city. And Umar ibn Khattab said, we run away from a qadar of Allah to another qadar of Allah. And he said to the one who questioned that, he said, if you have your sheep and there is a land with green grass and a land with very little grass, where do you take your sheep? He said, to the green grass. He said, okay, that's a choice. So when you have a choice, you are in charge of what you do. When you don't have a choice, it's forced upon you by Allah Azza wa Jal. So the qadar which is measure, Allah will increase or decrease. The qadar which is a law, you can use another law of Allah Azza wa Jal, medicine, protection, whatever. The qadar of Allah which is a plan, no one knows and no one can change. Allah Azza wa Jal will execute His plan as He wishes. Allah Azza wa Jal said, لِيَقْضِيَ اللَّهُ أَمْرًا كَانَ مَفْعُولًا. When they went to Badr, Allah Azza wa Jal said, you would have never met, but Allah wanted you to meet, and that's a plan of Allah. You meet the kafirin, and you had a fight in Badr, and you win the war. So the qadar of Allah, which is maf'ul, and we mentioned that when Maryam came, Jibreel to her and said that you will have Isa, son of Mary, and he said that's going to happen. كان أمرا مقضيا, that will take place. You can't change. And Maryam couldn't change it. She could have killed herself, killed the baby, run away, whatever, but she didn't do either of these. So, and Isa was born. So the evidence for God from probability, this one the scientists discussed, that statistical zero means zero chance. So the statistical zero, anything which the probability is less than 1 over 10 power of 50 is zero. Anything its existence by chance is less than 1 over the 10 power of 50 is zero. So that's the Earth, the chance for Earth to exist by itself is 1 over 10 power of 322. So obviously, all the mathematicians and the statisticians, they agree anything less, the probability is less than 1 over 10 power of 50 is zero. Non-existent, doesn't exist. It will not be there. Basically, like, the universe wouldn't be there to develop an Earth. The universe wouldn't be there to even form atoms. So the probability of Earth existing by itself is 1 over 10 power of 322. Means that it has never existed by itself. It can't, it won't. Mathematically, it's impossible. So for the believers, for the unbelievers, this is, they call it the Pascal triangle. That for the believers, there's 50% after death we perish, and for the unbeliever, 50% they will perish. For the believer, 50% that we will go to paradise. For the unbelievers, 50% that will go to hell. So it is a high risk that there's 50% chance that he goes to hellfire. If I say to anyone that you're going to have the operation, but there's 50% chance that you will die, will there be any person who will agree to have an operation? The answer is obviously no. 50% is very high probability, so you wouldn't risk next life that you go to hellfire. What points to Allah Azza wa Jal? First, a creator with ability and will to create. So he's able to create and wanted to create, and he created. The second one, he created living creatures with built-in ability to reproduce. So a human, until now, they haven't managed to get anything to reproduce itself. You need to provide the materials continuously to make planes and cars, and so that's the mighty of Allah, the ability to create something, duplicate itself again and again and again. He's a creator who answers prayers. Now, one of the things which is the unbelievers missing, and many Muslims missing, trusting Allah to provide, will answer prayers, and providing you put the raw material, you get the final results. If you study hard and you train and you study the possibility of what people will, who will employ you, what they expect from you, providing you have the raw material, you will get the job. If you pray to Allah Azza wa Jal, you will have head start than anybody else. Now, the experience of having your prayer answered point that Allah is there. And this is what most all Prophet did when they came. They used to ask Allah Azza wa Jal, and in all the time, or most of the time, Allah answered them immediately after they finished their prayer. And that power is actually cannot be noticed by somebody who doesn't believe in Allah. You need to believe in Allah Azza wa Jal and ask Allah, and Allah will give him. So Allah will retain the believers because He answered their prayers. And He showed them that He is in charge and He is already answered prayers. Now, one of the things a lot of us Muslims do not experience, that we don't ask Allah continuously. We want something and we ask Allah Azza wa Jal, and next day we forget it. But if you insist on asking, and then you come back and make sure you made your side of the bargain, you prepared the money, you prepared the place, you prepared the paper, whatever, and you ask Allah to help you out, Allah will answer your prayers. And always Allah challenged that the idols and statues will never answer anyone. They will never do or not do anything, because they are not actually in that ability to answer or do things. The fourth one, pointing that Allah is there, a creator who also keep guiding. When you ask Allah to guide you, you will find that you found the answer. You ask Allah to guide you to buy certain things, and you find that Allah did guide you. In religion, in religious term, we call it istikhara. We ask Allah we are instructed by the Prophet ﷺ, end of the day, we make proper wudu, and you stand and you pray 2 rak'ah, and you ask Allah Azza wa Jal, if I'm going to do so-and-so tomorrow, if it's good for me, let me have it, and if it's bad for me, let me not have it, or change my mind. If I'm going to buy something, I'm going to marry somebody, I'm going to apply for a job, or going to give an opinion about something, you make istikhara. And if you make the istikhara, you consult Allah Azza wa Jal, and Allah will guide you. If you always consult Allah Azza wa Jal, you will find that the guidance has happened. Either you didn't get it and then you discover it's bad for you, or you get it and you find that yes, Allah Azza wa Jal agreed for me to have it because it's good for me. So that's point to a creator, that he guides you along the way. That if you want the guidance. If you want the guidance, you ask Allah. The Sahaba used to say, we used to consult Allah Azza wa Jal even for buying salt, just plain salt. Oh, Allah Azza wa Jal, if buying the salt is good for me, let me get it. If it's bad for me, let me not get it. So they consult Allah, Allah will direct you. Number 5, created by design and immense condemnation. That points to Allah Azza wa Jal. And if the universe created from a big bang explosion never result in organized existence. Now, if you destroy a house, put all TNT, whatever, you destroy a house, you will not get a mansion. The house will become rubble. No, nothing there. So to have something well structured, well designed, there should be a designer. Nothing organizes itself the way it is. Like organizing this coronavirus, subhanAllah, a virus which you can't see, it transmits from person to person, and it could be, even they said on 3-4 meters, if somebody sneezes, and if the wind in the other person's direction, your sneeze will take the virus up to 4-5 meters, 6 meters. To get that horrible, and it seems that, Allah creates things which is highly destructive. Then, like, you can say a mass weapon, weapon of mass destruction, this virus, the coronavirus. Allah created things which has the ability and the power, well designed, not only well designed by itself, like the eyes we use and the ears we use and the brain functions and the plants and the fruits and the vegetables and all the animals, but also Allah has revealed things at the right time. When the number of people increased, the population increased, Allah showed us other ways to cultivate more food and to cultivate more crops and to have more. And then Allah made us discover oil just the right time, because we needed to move faster and from A to B to C. So not only by design and dated. You should get this at this age and get this at this age, get this at this age. So when the design of the progress of the man as a moral animal finished, he didn't need more messages. So the Prophet Muhammad was the last messenger. There's nothing else needed for the man with regard to his behavior, his conduct, his social and marriage and divorce, and also all these laws now fixed. But when it comes to economy and food and drink, Allah reveals more ways to discover. Like the solar system came, the wind power, wind farms and things came in a time when the petrol is getting shorter and also becoming more dangerous, harming the environment. So Allah revealed more ways to generate energy. Number 6 point to Allah placed a wisdom behind every creation, and nothing created in vain. You can't say the ants are not needed. You cannot say mosquitoes are not needed. You cannot say we will get rid of all the frogs, because when they try to kill all the mosquitoes in Africa, there's birds who live on it and frogs live on it. The frogs started dying. When frogs started dying, snakes live on frogs, they start dying. When the snakes start dying, birds who eat snakes start dying. So all this circle depends on each other, and nothing created in vain. Like I said to my student, when it's freezing weather, it's bad for us, but it's good for people who sell fuel, good for people who sell electricity, good for people who sell gas. And then the frost kills a lot of insects. If frost doesn't happen, insects will increase, and insects could eat everything green. So everything created in perfect balance at perfect time, and that point to a creator. You wouldn't get rain all the day, every day, drown the land. You get rain in certain areas when it's needed. When there is extra rain coming, means that either punishment or man has changed the environment that's attracting more rain or less rain. Everything point that Allah is there because He created everything with precise functions and precise contributions. Number 7, taking care of all creatures at the same time. That Allah doesn't allow any creature to dominate the other and wipe it out. Only man is doing it. While lions eat till the stomach is full and they stop eating, stop attacking. Tigers the same, cats the same, dogs the same. The creatures are created to stabilize existence of all of them at the same time. And Allah said, when corruption appeared in the sea and the land, because of what the hands of man did. So man is the only one who is left to do the good and the bad. And if a lot of people are doing a lot of bad, then we lose the rainforest, we lose we create the global warming, we will lose the ozone layers, we will lose the greens, and we will lose certain animals go to extinct and things. When they start killing elephants because they want to take their tasks, elephants became endangered species, and so on and so forth. So Allah take care of all the animals, providing man does not put his hand in things disrupting it. What points to Allah is universal law and the unity of the creation in immense balance, that you have the same law everywhere. The water will freeze at 0 degree everywhere, will evaporate at 100 degree everywhere. All the elements behave in certain law created by Allah. So when you go and discover, when they go to outer space, if you stay there, because there's an ayah, Allah said, منها خلقناكم وفيها نعيدكم ومنها نخرجكم تارة أخرى. Allah saying, from earth He created us, to earth He will send us back again when we die. From earth He will create us again the day of judgment. And I was surprised when people went to outer space and they live in outer space, what happened? They're not going to be brought back from earth, they're not going to be buried on earth. But then they discovered that no one can live in outer space more than 6 months, because his blood pressure will start rising up, his biochemistry will start changing, and he will die. So the maximum they stay in outer space for 6 months. So the law is on earth homogeneous by itself. When you go to outer space, there is a law there, doesn't support your survival, our survival. So number 9, placed in man a drive to find out how things came to exist and where it came from by nature. If a child 2 years old and you throw a ball from outside, he will go and try to find out who threw the ball. It didn't come from nothing. If you touch him from the back, he will turn his face to the back so you touch him, because nothing comes from nothing. So always search for where things came from. And this is why people always think about God, about Allah. And number 10, those who say nature, probably I'll stop here. I'll go to, I'll say this and then move to your questions. Those who say nature, if not him, you worship nothing but names which you have named. ما تعبدون من دونه الله إلا أسماء سميتموها أنتم وآباؤكم ما أنزل الله بها من سلطان. Those who say nature, they worship something else. They either worship their idols or statues, or they worship a system, democracy, communism, whatever. Or they just worship themselves. They will submit to something and to replace Allah Azza wa Jal. And that is always names they created. Allah Azza wa Jal didn't mention it. So when you say to people, when they say there's no God, in the true term, no, they must be worshipping something, following something. And you will find that they are actually following things, in their life. Either they follow another religion, worshipping cows or camels or the sun or the moon or the sea, or whatever, or worship other people, follow their commands. Because worshipping in Islam means you obey somebody to do things which you don't know which way is the right way. So when you obey Allah Azza wa Jal, you say Allah is the most wise, He knows what He's talking about, and I want His guidance. Because when you discover the right way, it could be too late. How would I look after my children? What food I should eat? What drink I should drink? What things I should avoid? Is killing something going to harm me or harm the community? Is stealing going to harm the community? Is lying going to harm the community? So you always have set things in life which you need the guidance in advance. I'll stop here probably. If you have any questions on, it's quite a lot I spoke about, but if you have any questions, I will try to answer, inshallah. Any of you?
Yes.
Just
Sorry. Sheikh Islam, can I just ask you about the tariqah, or the way of doing, of consulting God to ask for advice? Like you said, the Sahabi even used to ask Allah whether they should buy pencils.
Yeah, whether they want to buy salt or not. It's called istikhara in Islam. You consult Allah Azza wa Jal first. You say to Allah Azza wa Jal, I'm going to the shop now to do my shopping. Oh Allah Azza wa Jal, if it's good for me, make it easy for me and make it go and come back safe and benefit from things. If it's bad for me, just turn me away from that. So what you do, you appoint somebody to make the decision for you. If you don't know the law and you have a problem with the government or with another firm, you employ a solicitor. If it's criminal law, you employ a criminal solicitor. If it is financially, you employ a law aware of finance. If you have problem making your account, you employ a clever accountant who will do the job for you, will be your wakil. You deputize your affair to that wakil, that person, whether solicitor, accountant, bodyguard to protect you. If you appoint Allah Azza wa Jal to make the decision for you, and you fail, you blame Allah Azza wa Jal. If you succeed, you thank Allah Azza wa Jal. So if you appoint Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah always ready and will take responsibility.
How do you do that though? Do you have to do your wudu and make sujood and then ask, or do you do two rakahs?
That's the best, but you don't have to make wudu and do the salah. You just say in your mind, you're going to go shopping. You ask Allah, if it's good for me, let me get there. I went yesterday shopping in Tesco, and I found a queue around around 100 people before me. So I thought, Allah, if I can, if going to LD would be better for me, let me go there and be better for me. So I went straight away in, straight away out. There's no queue in coming in. There were no queue going out. So it helps if you consult Allah Azza wa Jal. He will give you an idea in your mind. Go to LD. So the idea is go to LD, came to my mind. So I drove back from Tesco to LD, finished my shopping, came back in no time. So if you consult Allah Azza wa Jal and you fail, you blame Allah. Obviously, I can't say to Allah Azza wa Jal, I'm going to go to Scotland, but you haven't put petrol in your car. You haven't got, you can't go, it's locked down, you can't go there. And you can't ask Allah Azza wa Jal for something you know is going to be failure anyway. Oh Allah Azza wa Jal, send me $1 million. Let me wake up tomorrow and there's £1 million in my account. It's not going to happen. But if something you can do, but you don't know whether it's going to be good or bad for you, consult Allah. So they said, we don't know even if we want to buy salt, we consult Allah. So when you always consult Allah Azza wa Jal, you will find that you are most of the time hitting it right. And most of the time when you hit it wrong, you missed something, you should have done it yourself. I mentioned yesterday when I was trying to work in King Faisal Specialist Hospital in Riyadh, that eventually when I came and settled in Britain, I found that that was far much more better for me, for my family, for my future. Because now my friends who stayed in Saudi, they terminated their contract, sent them away. There's no wages, there's no pension, there's no free health service, there's no social security, nothing. So they told me they lost years of their life thinking they are serving the Muslims. They discovered when they needed the Muslims, the service wasn't there, and they were turned away. One of them, a friend of mine, used to work in the Islamic Foundation in Leicester. He thought he would go and work in Saudi, serve the Muslims and things, and he went there. And now he hasn't got a pension. He hasn't got he managed to get some money out of his pension, a small pension from the Islamic Foundation. So another guy who was a lecturer in Nottingham University, and we went to his house, and he told us how he left his job to go and work in Saudi and get serve the Muslims, is what he said to me. And then when he reached the age of 50, they said, we don't want to employ you anymore, and send him out. There's nothing there. There's no pension. There's no health service. There's no elderly care. There's nothing. Nothing. They don't even allow you to stay. And sometimes, you finish your residency and you go. You live there 18 years, they wouldn't give you a permanent stay. You're still like a tourist. You will.
So are you saying that you should have consulted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
So when it was, I applied and blocked many times, I came to conclusion that Allah doesn't want that. There's no point keep doing the istikhara and keep applying. You just change it to something else. And I found that something else was extremely better for me than what I was trying to do. So
But did you pray the istikhara dua at the time?
Always istikhara, alhamdulillah. I do the istikhara.
So are you saying that you can do istikhara, like you can just say in English when I go to the shop and say?
Yeah, whatever you want to say is not, the language is not a problem. You just say the istikhara. It's the idea is to leave it to Allah Azza wa Jalla. If it's good for me, make it easy for me. If it's bad for me, turn it away from me.
So do you have to say it out loud, or you can just think it?
Whatever. Yeah, between you and Allah Azza wa Jal, between you and Allah. Put him in charge of your affair. He will act as your solicitor, your accountant, your doctor, your treatment. If this is good for me, make it easy. And you go, you find that the doctor changed his mind. You said you will do this. No, we found this different way. Allah will bring ideas to your doctor to better treat you.
So I thought you had to pray to Nafal and read the istikhara dua.
That's the best. That's it all the top.
Okay.
Yeah, but in fact, in every movement, I'm going to go downstairs now and make obviously it's Ramadan now, but suppose I want to go downstairs, I'm in the office now, to make a cup of tea. Allah make it easy for me. So I wouldn't slip of the stair. And my wife was a few years ago now. She made the wrong turn to go upstairs, and she see the tendon in her leg. She had to go through treatment and things. Even going upstairs, Allah has make it easy for me to get upstairs. It's going to happen, yeah, but might not happen. Yeah, things might go terribly wrong. Always make istikhara. Consult Allah Azza wa Jalla. Leave it to Him. Why didn't you come? Allah didn't want. I made the istikhara and I found the car broke down. And the road was blocked, the train was cancelled. And if you leave it to Allah Azza wa Jal, it's not me. I did my best. Allah didn't want it to happen. I'm happy with that. So wouldn't regret and things. Allah didn't want that. If you don't make istikhara, probably you bought the wrong house. You bought it in the wrong place, flooded and things. The session, I think, about to finish in 2 minutes. If you have anything else to ask, please do.
Just on that point, Dr. Ghanem, someone once said to me, Allah is your guardian angel, so treat him like an invisible. He's around you. So if you're in a car park, you can have a conversation. You can ask, oh, Allah, is that good space for me to park my car in? Or like you were saying.
Yeah, I know. I know one person. Yeah, I know one person. Every time I want to go to Small Heath to do the shopping, ask Allah Azza wa Jalla, and there's always a space there. Small Heath, you can never find a space for your car.
Yeah, that's true.
And address Allah in second party always. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. اللهم لا إله إلا أنت. Yunus, when he addressed Allah directly, لا إله إلا أنت. That's you in front of me. All the praise to you. I was unjust against myself. Allah Azza wa Jalla immediately saved him and got him out of the whale. So this is obviously lessons Allah told us in the Quran to copy. You do like Yunus. Ask directly Allah Azza wa Jalla. Sayyidina